You know what I mean? Big Bootsie brought him to Harlem. I had to introduce him to Harlem's finest, man. If you know anything about Harlem, man, this the big homie. You know what I mean? Just so you know, this the biggest homie. You understand what I'm saying? So I had to bring him over here to come check Gangsta Lou and go get bigger, finer, more gangster, more thorough. You know what I mean? We go all the way back. Come over here and salute him. So let him see that. Let him see the salute. So you know, this is how the youngest respect the gangster, man. You know what I mean?
Gangsters be the general, you heard?
You know what I mean?
Real rights in the 80s, baby.
All right.
You already know, Harlem real right only.
Just so you know, AKA Boogaloo. You know what I mean? This Harlem's finest. This how they do it. I just want to introduce you. You know what I mean?
Definitely is a pleasure.
You know? To the big OG.
Thank you, bro. Coming through, bro. Homie, to meet a big homie. Homie, and they, you know, your loved ones speak so highly of you out here, homie. All of these blocks, homie, they all speak highly of you, homie. They all speak highly, and so they was like, nigga, you gotta go around there and meet, you know what I'm saying, the big homie real quick. Homie, you need to go around there and touch bases and tap in.
This is one of the other guys that I looked up to growing up.
Right, right.
This is my big brother. You know
Right.
They've been speaking on you since I touched down. They've been speaking your name, ringing bells.
Just so you know, you ain't gotta be there to get you.
I'm like, damn, homie, this nigga the nigga then, homie. I'm like, damn.
Bro, not for nothing, bro. You know, it took a long time for me to change my attitude to be able to have people approach me, because for years I've been really unapproachable, you know what I'm saying? Even now, so more in days that I'm really kind of active in social media, sometimes people, I don't be really knowing if a person, if it's love or if it's a slug, you understand what I'm saying? So sometimes people look at me and I don't know what type of look it is, and I be having to catch myself on some old, nah, Lou, it ain't that. Maybe they just saw you on one of your interviews and they just staring at you in a certain type of way. So it kind of like is kind of like mixed feelings with this shit, you know what I'm saying? When you coming from the street and shit, you know, I don't know how to really embrace this shit. I try to, but I really don't know how to. You know what I'm saying?
You know, there ain't no manual. Wasn't no manual given to us from the street. We just know the code that we abide by. You know, it ain't a hand manual, because at the end of the day, every individual is different. And so how we all approach it, you know, how we do, you know, anything is how we gonna do everything. And I can respect that, how you saying that, because that's what it is, homie. You came from the soil with it. So you've seen so much shit in your lifetime, homie, that it's just embedded into you, your cognitive behavior. So it's just that way. Like, you know, when I first came home, I had an issue with my hands being balled up all the time, because in there I always knew to protect myself. So I didn't know if the homies was gonna stab me up or knock me out. So I already know how you feel, because I was always on tense. I was so tense, you know, because I didn't know what was moving. And niggas like, nigga, come in the yard. Like, come in the yard?
And they just telling you to come in
the yard. Like, nigga, yeah, I don't know. These niggas saying niggas smile, niggas. When they smiling, homie, you know, I don't know if, you know, when a person's showing you a smile, a lot of times when they showing you their fangs.
That's right.
Yeah.
They showing you their fangs, homie.
They come in smiles too, man. Not all smooth faces and shit. Not all killers you could detect, you know?
Exactly, most happiest, go luckiest people that I know in my lifetime of being in the streets is the ones, homie, that knock your head off with no remorse, homie.
Right. Well, you know, when I was a kid, I didn't understand what my mom was saying to me, but she had realized that I was in the street. So she called me in her room one day. She said, because back when I was coming up, it wasn't no hustler, it was a scrambler. That's what you was called when you sold drugs when I was a kid, a scrambler.
You know?
So my mom's was like, so you a scrambler now? So I looked at her, because I knew my mom, she could say something to you and you would never know when she gonna hit you, because she was left-handed. So I kind of like hesitated on answering her, but I was looking at her hands when she asked me the question. So she asked me the question again. Yeah, no, listen to me. I'm not gonna do nothing to you. I just want you to answer me. Are you a scrambler? So I looked at my mother and I said, yeah. And then she looked at me and she said, you'll never be a good one. So I looked at my mom's and I said, Mom, why you say that? She said, because you got to be a cruel person to be a scrambler. You're not cruel. Only a cruel person would sell drugs to people and knowing they're killing them and hurting them and just go home and go to sleep. That ain't you. So from that point on, I was kind of confused. Like, damn, Lou, are you a scrambler or are you the other person? You know what I'm saying? But one thing you're going to have to do, you're going to have to make up your mind. The decision starts right now. Because your mother just let it be known, nigga. She don't see that in you. And if your moms don't see it in you, it ain't in you. Right? So I forced it in me. And it's got me to where I'm at today. Nothing but trouble.
Anybody know your moms, God bless her. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That new Raising Kanan story.
Yo, you know my girl say my mom.
That's you and your mother.
Listen.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
Listen to me.
His mom's wasn't nothing to play with.
I swear,
She about that
yo,
money.
on my mother's grave,
She had reason to put an A where he had.
and
Not putting it yet, but
bro, listen to me, my nigga. I put this on my dead mother's grave. Me and my broad was just laying down. She said, "Boo, watch something with me."
Right.
Cause she know I don't be into all that shit.
Right.
So what? She said, "Watch Raising Kanan with me, please." So she put it on. As we watching it, I see this pretty brown-skinned woman, you know. But out the clear blue sky, my girl just said, "Yo, Lou, the reason why I want you to watch is because she just remind me so much of your mother."
Yes.
That's what made me
When I'm
keep
sitting there
watching that shit.
watching
And sure enough, that lady attitude.
Bro, I'm sitting there watching it. I'm like, yo, this Lou and his.
Get out of here.
That's my word. Because I know his mom's. God bless her. And I know him coming up. You know what I'm saying? And his mom's is about that bread.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing to play with. And highly respected.
fly.
Stayed fly. That's this nigga mom's, my nigga. You would have thought if 50 ain't go through what he would do, they wrote that for this nigga. But you know, great minds think alike. This energy is real.
Yo, Bootsie, you know what? You just really up, bro. Because the way you worded it, I could never have worded that shit. And had I had said what you saying to somebody else, they'd have been looking at me like I'm flexing. So for me to hear something that I watched last night that I could never say to nobody because they would never understand what I mean by what I'm saying, or they would have thought I was flexing.
Right.
For you to say it the way you said it, it's just like, it's like God is like talking to me like, nigga, in a minute, nigga. It's just a matter of time, bro. I just need you to stay alive and stay out of jail. You know what I mean? You're gonna get your turn, bro. I'm showing you this shit to give you inspiration. To let you know, nigga, this is your life.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
So it's crazy that you saying that, and I just watched it last night. I'm gonna call her right now and see if she gonna answer the phone, cause I can't believe you said that shit, my nigga.
Right on point.
That shit fucked me up,
I was
bro.
already saying it, watching it in my house, telling my little niggas.
If she gonna answer the phone, I gotta ask her this shit like, yo, mom, before we watch that Raising Kanan shit last, hey, boo, I need you to answer me and just answer the question, okay? You know how you asked me to watch that movie Raising Kanan with you last night, right? Out of all the shit that we watched, right, and all the people in the movie, who you said who remind who of what?
I said the mother remind me of your mother.
Yeah.
All right, that's it. That's all I needed to hear.
She right on
Say
point.
no more, boo. All right, bye. You heard what she said.
Yeah.
You go home now, you can tell her your boy
Yeah,
just
nah,
came
I-
up here.
oh yeah, that's what I'm
reiterated
missing.
that.
I
drunk on
forgot
that
to
one.
tell her that.
Yeah, you drunk on
That's
that
what
one.
really fucked.
Said the same
That's
thing.
how, hey, boo. Yo, you look at my man right here, right? I grew up with this nigga here, right? Bootsie, this my nigga Bootsie, right? She cooking, that's why she can't see. But look, how about he just stood right here and said the same thing you said, and I promise you that shit went in my body, like beyond chills. Like I had to call the phone now. My girl just said the same shit to me last night, bro. Like, this shit is crazy, man.
Yeah,
like,
but it's a fact.
and only if you know me, you know that shit. Man.
Yeah,
That's the crazy
right.
shit. Man.
Yeah, that go to show you.
That shit is crazy right there, man. Cause that's what made me watch it more. The mother was just so vicious
Gangster,
with
yeah.
her shit.
Yeah.
Like I remember when I was a little nigga, right? Everybody always be like, yo, Lou, why you don't smile in none of your pictures, man? You know, you never smile. Like, what's wrong? Because when I was 10, I walked in my mother's room and I was smiling. And my mother said, come in. I thought she was playing with me. She said, with the left hand, why you smile so much? put her hand down. I didn't, hey, yo, bro, I looked at her like, huh? What you mean? Like, everybody smiled. Like, this is on my mind. What is this, a trick question? What do you mean why I smile so much, bro? You know, is she playing or is she dead serious with a question like that? But when she asked me again, I know it's different. Why the fuck you smile so much? Oh, this shit is real. I didn't have an answer, so you know what I did? I hit her with the shrub shoulders, one of these. You know how kids do like this. Hit her with one of those. Boom! Right in the chest. So much. That's a sign of weakness. And I ain't smile no more, bro.
Right. You know, man, what's so crazy about it is.
You took the bag, Lou?
Yes, baby. Thank you.
You know what's so crazy? It took me a long time to come with the reality of something. And I had to sit down and come to that reality. And that reality was one, man, that was real surreal in the moment. You know, the realities of the way that we were raised and the struggle that we came through, it didn't happen to us, it happened for us. It was already ordained in the stars for it to be that way. You know, God put 9 billion people on one planet, and each one he made us uniquely different to go through unique different circumstances. And each circumstance is fitting for each person. When he made us, he didn't make us by mistake, because God don't make no mistakes. You know, each one, when he created us in his image of himself, and the personalities and the traits that he wanted in us, whether we want to believe that or not. You know, it's like, you ever watch an artist paint a picture? And that's what he did with each one of us. And that's why when I used to sit down in the penitentiary, and all of them years when I sat in that penitentiary, I would sit there and be like, man, why me? As I began to read, and I told somebody this the other day, you know, at one point, Christ walked away from his disciples, and he went into a place, and he was weeping. And he said, Lord, you know, I ain't really ready for this one. Right. But he said, if it's your will, let your will be done.
Right.
Let your will be done.
Right.
You know, I was telling him earlier this, when I was sitting in that courtroom, you know, I was up there in the 9th Circuit up there in SeaTac.
Okay.
And so, you know, when I did the open plea, the homie, I went back to the cell, and he was like, you signed that paper to do open plea, homie? I said, absolutely, homie. He said, nigga, why you do that stupid ass shit? I said, man, shit, homie, it wasn't no other options, homie. There's, some people got choices in life. And some people got options, and I only had one choice. I didn't have the luxury of an option. He was like, man, you know what you're facing, right? He said, you know each one of them frauds that you pulled up on, homie, they carry a 30-year maximum penalty, homie. I said, it is what it is. You know, the things that happen in our life, they formed us to who we are to this day, homie. I don't have no shame or no regret, but I do it anyway different. People say, well, if I'd have did this and if I'd have did that, no. Everything happened the way that it's supposed to happen. Whether the good with the bad, homie. You know, the good come with the bad.
Nah, bro, it's funny he's saying that, because I say that the same thing, but I say it in a different way. You know what I mean? A lot of times things start off bad at the beginning, they wind up good in the end.
Exactly.
And it's basically like what you're saying and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? You know, you can take it for what it is in the beginning and how it come to you. Sometimes it could be the worst shit in the world. But after you get over it, it either make you wiser or it make you stronger. It's just like me taking the weight for some shit I didn't do, knowing my mother was on her deathbed, facing 30 to life. And I would never tell on a nigga, but I live with the fact what a nigga had done that for me.
Right.
So me letting my mother leave this earth without saying bye to her, knowing that I had a chance to be with her, I put keeping it real before keeping it being with my mother. So I live with this shit every fucking day. I don't regret what I did, but the fact still remains in my head. What a nigga had the way let his mother die fucking like I did. You know what I'm saying?
And I feel you on that. Yeah. While I was locked up, my mama passed away.
Mine's too, bro.
When I was in there in my 7th year of my bid, homie.
Yeah.
On my bid.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget when the chaplain walked up into the dorm.
Right. Been through that, yes sir.
And I remember, homie, it was a cold feeling that came over my whole entire body, homie.
Right.
It was like he was the walking reaper, homie.
Right.
And I never forget Harry O, who started that road. He was sitting there watching TV and he pulled his headphones off. Right. He looked at me. The homie put his head down, homie. He said, Williamson, 631741112. I was like, yeah. He said, come with me. So I look back at that because I wasn't able to be there in that time that she needed me the most, because out of all her sons, you know, when I was young, when I started selling dope, when I was 13 years old, when I started hustling and selling dope, always, you know, the first time my mama found a pistol in the house, she found a pistol. I had a 38 with tape on the handle. I had the whole handle taped up with duct tape. And so I came back and she said, you old enough to bring guns in my house, you old enough to have your own house.
Wow.
This ain't your house no more.
Wow.
I said, mama, man, no. You old enough to hang out, you old enough to smoke weed, you old enough to have guns. This ain't your house no more. This my house. So you gonna abide by my rules and how I apply them in my house. And she sent the nigga out there in the woods.
Right.
And I remember I used to come over there, homie, and be beating on the door. You know what I'm saying? Once she said that and locked that in, it was locked in. But the dude who owned the house, the apartment building, the little old broad who used to buy work from me, she used to come through there. And that's how I found out who owned the spot. You know, my mom never paid the rent, so I go through there and trade all the work to make sure that the rent was straight.
Right.
So I go get a little broad, you know, I rock up some work, and boom, give it to the little broad, and me and him had an agreement. So, you know, on her deathbed, she used to always ask me.
Right.
She used to ask for me.
Right.
And yeah, homie. She used to ask for me all the time. Where Tony at?
Yeah.
That's my middle name.
Right.
And yeah. My brothers would always.
My story is even iller, bro.
That's what I want to hear. See your side now. He told me what happened with him. What would your mother have done in that same situation?
Nah, what happened with me was I dreamt my mother's death, bro. I go on the war with niggas. I'm beefing with niggas. I got the bulletproof vest on. I ain't sleeping for days. It's me and my little man Nice. We at it. And this day in particular, I went in and I sat on the edge of the bed and I laid across the bed and I fell asleep. But in my sleep, I felt myself tossing and turning in my sleep, but I could not figure out why. Because half of my mind was woke, half of my mind was asleep. But then some just said, wake up. So when I sat up, I'm looking at myself and looking around like, why the fuck I feel like this? But then I realized I got this vest still on. So I took the shit off. This is how exhausted I was. I took it off, sat on the side of the bed, laid back down, and fell asleep. Now, when I fell asleep, I had a dream that my mother died, right? And I went to jail for murder, and I went to my mother's funeral shackled up. That's how my mother died, bro.
Get out of here.
Tell them the story about when you could have went to your mom.
Oh, yeah.
They had came because I got on the phone. And, you know, every time she'd be, you know, doctor wanted to amputate her leg.
But she had diabetes?
Yeah.
That's what killed my mother.
They wanted to amputate her leg.
That's what killed my mother.
And so my mama was like, hell no, y'all ain't finna cut my leg off. So they did another surgery.
I didn't recognize you from the back.
How you doing?
Tell her, hold up, we're doing an interview.
So they turned back around and they had rerouted my mom's stomach. So she had started getting better for a minute, but on them days when she would be down, my brothers always be like, Mama, Tony coming home, he coming home. She said he coming home. They would see the light and the spark in her eyes to fight, to keep swallowing, to keep fighting. And you know what I mean? When he came and he brought me over there to the chapel area over there, I got on the phone with Brody. Brody was like, nigga, we finna spin the bread. I was like, no. I was like, I'm not finna be standing over my mama with no chains on, homie. I'm not finna stand over with my mama with no chains on. I'd rather die first, nigga, than to be standing over my mama with some chains on. I'm not finna send her off, my nigga and her son, nigga, in chains. Like a motherfucking slave.
I couldn't even think about it like that.
I can't do it, homie. I can't do it, homie. And Brody was like, nigga, it's only 10 bands. I said, you heard what I said, homie. It ain't even about no money. We all got money. I said, it ain't about no money. I said, homie, I'm not finna stand over my mama, homie. The woman who brought me in the earth with chains on me.
Lie,
and that's
a bad stand, man.
Yeah.
I had to do it. I had to do it, man. It's a very bad stand. See, what I was gonna say is this, though, right? For me having that dream, I probably ain't sleep for like a month. I was scared to sleep. I was really scared.
Where was you at then? That was in Georgia State, right?
When I had the dream,
Yeah.
I was right here on St. Nicholas.
So when you couldn't sleep, where was you at?
Right on St. Nicholas. Then I caught the body, and I had went to see my mother on a Tuesday. I got clipped that Wednesday for the man down.
So you just foreseen it.
Yo, you want to hear the realest shit about my case? I didn't even do that shit, right? I wanted to see my mother so fucking bad. And I was willing to say I did that shit, bro. I'm almost one of them niggas that's in prison for some shit he didn't do, man. I swear made my kids die where they at right now. I told them niggas, shackle me up, take me to the hospital, give me 5 minutes with my mother, and I'll tell them everything. And I didn't know nothing.
Now that's a mother's love. That's how the hood works.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That's why I don't respect no dude that talk crazy to his mother. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know? Yeah, everything love. You know?
You know, that's that
what it
respect
is.
and that's that love. You know, I remember when we used to be hungry. You know, I was born in Chicago. You know, so when I was 5, 6 years old, before she took us out to the West, you know, my mom it was just me and her. So my mama would walk in the store. She'd have on a trench coat. She'd have on one of them, like, rerun hats. Mom would stick a pack of chicken in this pocket. She'd stick the hot dogs in his pocket. My brother Hot Dollar, he was still a baby in the thing. She'd stick ground beef underneath him. And she'd go in there, homie, and literally scrape up change and buy a loaf of bread. So, you know, to kind of play the playoff. It was just so many moments, homie, we shared that flashed through my head on the way walking to that chapel to the church house in the penitentiary. And, you know, my brothers is mourning on the phone. They mourning. So I'm trying to kind of like keep them strong and keep their head on, you know? And like last night I said what I said because I said what I meant. And I meant what I said last night about my daddy.
Tell them they didn't hear you.
Well, you know, the nigga, homie, I seen him twice in my life. I seen him at 5 and I seen the nigga at 28 when I started doing this rap shit. And the nigga had told me, said right before my mama passed, I said, you know what, Pops? I'm up in here, I still got some tick left. But check this out, though. I said, man, it'll really be big for me, homie, if you can go down there and see my mama, homie. The woman that gave you 3 kids, homie.
That's what you asked your pops.
That's what I asked this nigga. Go look my mama in her eyes, homie. woman who gave you 3 children, nigga. Do it for me, homie. If you don't do nothing else in this life, for me. For me. I can't do it, but you can do it. The nigga didn't do it. So he tried to do some old rerouted ass shit, homie. And go with my brother. This is the second play he did that was fucked up. He tell my brothers that he gonna help pay for the services. Now, he bring my grandma, his mother. She 86 years old to this day, she still drives. Up in Chicago. He take her down there with his sister. So, now my younger brother that's up under me, he was raised by me. When I started selling dope, I used to chop up, double up 50s, you know what I'm saying? And I give him half of the work and I keep the other half. So I had to like school the nigga go buy him a curl kit and a khaki suit. Like, nigga, what the fuck is you doing, nigga? So I had to school him. He was schooled in the hard ways. So, you know, on his first missions, homie, I took him on them missions. When them niggas is throwing up, nigga, they scared, nigga, give me the motherfucking blower. Nigga, fuck wrong with you, nigga? This nigga's finna knock your shit loose, nigga. You throwing up, for, nigga. Nigga, this nigga started throwing up. He got throw up all over his clothes. Him and his partner, they throwing up all over themselves and shit. Fuck you mean,
no,
nigga?
You can't smoke.
But, you know, the G homies had raised me a certain way. So, you know, my brother, he was raised up under me. He had to endure that. So that night, he's still in his suit, homie. Now, remind you, when some shit went bad out in Compton, my mama sent him to Mississippi. So he there, homie, at the grave site in the middle of the dark, drinking Crown Royal, drunk, sitting between their graves. He mourning his mama and he mourning his grandma who raised him half his life. My dad ain't even had a compassion, homie. He mad at him that he can't sit down and showboat that he got a relationship with his son in front of his mother and his sister. But this my brother, he's still a man. It's mourning his mama. He mourning her and he mourning his mama's mama. And he mourning his grandma at the same time because he hadn't been out there. Virgin sent me the record label, let me go see my mama when I was on a promo tour. They rerouted the tour and let me go mourn my granny. And paid for it. My brother didn't have the luxury to go do that. So imagine him sitting there in the dirt, homie, in his suit, drinking. He drunk. So the following morning, instead of my daddy following suit with what he said he was gonna do, this nigga jump in the car with my granny and my auntie and go back up to Chicago. My brother called that nigga like, hey man, where that bread at, man? They help me pull my, you know, make sure mama straight. Oh, you know, I got some other things I need to do. So that's why, even to this day, I don't deal with them because of the disrespect. It's disrespect.
At least you seen yours, bro. I don't even, if my father walked past me right now, I wouldn't know what he looked like. You know what I'm saying? So I raised my motherfucker. So all this shit I know, I learned, taught myself. Bro, I was getting high at 12, 13, bro. I'm talking about sniffing white, bro. Yeah. You know what I mean? Strung out on him. You know what I'm saying? I knew what it was before A did. You feel me? My mom was with it, and I watched her, and when she went to work, I went in her shit. You understand what I'm saying? And me being so young, not even knowing that I'm addicted to some shit. If I didn't go upstate at 17, I ain't no telling where I'd be right now. I'd probably be a crackhead or something, bro.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So, I mean, the father shit, I don't know how to relate to that because I ain't never, ever seen mine.
So you said you seen it before A. You saw White before A.
Yeah.
What year was that? And like, I remember because I know the era.
I'm gonna say the 70s, 79, some shit like that. I was sniffing coke. I'm a kid. I ain't.
So when did y'all start moving? You know, like shaking and baking.
At 15, man.
Yeah.
I didn't meet A till I was 15 years old. I was already.
So how did that hook up? How did y'all?
I was fucking with his girlfriend. He had a girl named Lisa, and she used to come get me on a moped that happened to be his. And then one day I went over there to get some food from a restaurant that was on the block, 721. the Italian joint, you know what I'm talking about. And Lisa and Robin and them was out there. Yo, you go with Lisa, teasing me, and I'm like, you know, when you're young, you ain't got no girlfriend. I'm like, no, she's not my girlfriend. Yes, she is. They just kept teasing me. And then some gangsters that I knew, Fats, Thomas, Yummy, them niggas, I ran into them at the club. They got into a fight with some Brooklyn niggas. You know me, I used to like to fight back then. I'm thinking we fighting until I heard shots going off, and then they saw me again. They like, yo, shorty, next time, stay the fuck out the way. We don't do no fighting. Matter of fact, yo, St. Nick brought me down there, put work in my pocket, put me in a building, told me don't go nowhere. Started sending customers in there to me. I stood there for like maybe a week or two with them niggas. My mom's was looking for me. Then when I went home, my mom was like, nah, you ain't going nowhere, whatever. Fasten told me don't even go back home. So I said, fuck it, I stayed home. Next thing I know, my doorbell rang. My mom's look through the peephole, it's him and Mad Dog. She don't know no better. She opens the door, lets these niggas in. I'm in the living room. They walks in the living room. My mom goes back in her room. They like, nigga, didn't he tell you don't leave the block?
That's crazy.
And I'm like,
Mom said you didn't even know that. That's the homies. I ain't got to worry about them.
I'm like, yo, I told them niggas, I said, I'm on punishment. He said, you on punishment? I said, yeah. They say, yo, listen, man. We told you don't leave the block. Go in that room and tell your mother you like that. And then them niggas took the pistols off their waist and put them on my mom's night table. So I got up, put my clothes on, went in my mom's room. I said, Mom, I gotta go with my friends somewhere. I'll be back. I ain't been back home since, bro. That's how I wanted to let them say me.
Right, wow.
Yeah,
What do you mean you ain't been back home since?
Them niggas drew them pistols on me, and I never left St. Nick. I was with some different niggas. I'm 15 years old. And then I seen they was using me, and then me and A beefing, because I'm taking their coke, saying it's AZ's to get rid of it. He found out, he grabbed me by the collar. He knew he couldn't do nothing to me, because I'm out, like right now, I'll be out till 5, 6 in the morning. So he like, nigga, what they paying you? And I'm like, wow, you just grabbed me by the throat a couple of days ago, nigga. Don't ask me nothing. But that nigga put that money in my hand and said, get in the car. I got in the car with him. I ain't got out the car since.
That was a hell of a ride, huh?
Yeah, man, that nigga took me from bluing them niggas, man. He seen I was either gonna get killed or go to prison, man. They had me doing too much for a kid, man.
Right. That's crazy.
You would have thought them niggas would have been like, only nigga that treated me like a 15-year-old was Yummy. But I didn't like the way Yummy talked to me. Like the day he killed that man, he saw me, he said, yo, come here, motherfucker. So I said, what's up? He said, don't you got school tomorrow? And I looked at him, I said, yeah. He says, well, go the fuck home. I said, man, he said, look, man, take this $100 bill. And he waved the cab.
That's how he used to do.
Right? He opened the door. He said, get in the cab. I got in the cab. He said, yo, make sure he go home. Tell him where to take me.
Right.
So I told the cab where I was going. At this time, I lived on Riverside.
Yeah.
So I get in the cab on between St. Nick and Edgecombe, because he tell me this in front of the pool room. Remember the pool room?
Yeah, I remember.
So I get in the cab. I go here. When I get down near the Amsterdam, I hear, BAH! And I look back in the cab, and I see people running, and I see somebody walking mad fast. So
What's up, bro?
Yo, what's up, my nigga? Chillin'. So I just jumps out the cab and goes back to the block. It's a nigga laying right there with a hole in his head. That's why Yummy put me in the cab, because he didn't want me to see him shoot that man. And I did his whole bid with him, because look, after he killed the nigga, he called me every day from prison. So I used to just answer his calls, not knowing that it's building up my mom's phone bill. So one day, my mom's came in my room like, what else? I'm like, what's up, Mom? She's like, motherfucker, who the fuck you been talking to from prison? And I'm like, my homeboy Yummy. She like, motherfucker, if you accept one more call, I'm gonna kick your motherfucking ass, motherfucker. You better not answer one more call from this motherfucking Yummy. And she closed my room door, and I laid on my bed, and I got to thinking, what do you fear most? The ass whooping of your mother, or what you saw Yummy do? And all I saw was Yummy I seen that man head on the ground. I answered that nigga phone call, his whole bed. Fuck what my mother say. I'd take that ass whooping, but after what he did, I want no smoke. What you
No
mean
smoke.
Don't answer his phone call.
You know?
Terror.
Yeah, he was always little. I did his whole
Always short niggas, but
I did his whole bid with him on the phone, my nigga, after I seen him shoot. I didn't see him shoot that man because he did it so fly. After he hit the nigga, he put the joint in the newspaper, put the newspaper on his arm and got the walk. You know what I'm saying? But niggas told on him. He went to jail the very next day. He was the one who paid me more attention than anybody else.
Right.
He forced me to come in the bar with him, made me drink Hennessy shot. You gonna drink it, little nigga. You wanna be out, right? Drink it. I was scared to death of that nigga. I drank that shit fast. That nigga was a killer.
Yes.
I ain't knowing about killing, man. I'm from Riverside, man.
Right.
I'm from the good side of town, man. Y'all niggas got me fucked up.
Just jumped off the porch early.
Man, look at me now, man. This shit is weird. And all my people from Riverside, they be like, Boogaloo?
Right.
That's Gangsta Lou?
And that's
All this time, I didn't. When they find out that Boogaloo was Gangsta Lou, they know me forever. They like, wait a minute, they been talking about you? I'm like, man, it's all fucked up. I know, man.
That's where I was gonna go. Where did the name Boogaloo come from?
My mother. I told niggas at my grandmother's family reunions in Brooklyn, man, I danced to the fucking I danced the carpet off the floor.
Let me put you back in 1985. 1985, I was locked up out in Jersey. And 86, you know what I mean? To end of 87. That whole time, all I heard about was Boogaloo.
I was loopy, man.
You know what I
With
mean? You know, with AZ and everybody, but I'm just saying, you know, because, you know, AZ and the name was ringing all going through Jersey and all that, because I was locked up out of Jersey.
I'm gonna say some shit to you, bro. I didn't know what I was doing then, but I know what. All the shit that I was doing back then, I never ever wanted nothing for it. No ulterior motives. I didn't even get appreciated for this shit because I just gave shit to people and didn't know that I was supposed to be appreciated or, you know, whatever. So I'm just saying this to say that, and he could verify what I'm about to say because he's been around for most of the shit that I talk about. This nigga Bootsie, man. I'll tell y'all, and if I'm lying, he gonna say it, bro. But look, right? The whole circle, right? It wouldn't have never been no circle if I didn't bring them in. Am I lying?
Not at all.
Has they ever did anything with anybody or for anybody unless he asked me first?
That's a fact.
Okay? So I want to clear that. I say this to say that all I ever did and all I ever wanted to do was help. If niggas wanted to get in touch with A, they couldn't. They had to come to me.
That's a fact.
Am I lying, Bootsie?
Not at all.
If they
Niggas
could
sit and wait on that block all day waiting for it to come.
They
Hope that he pop
They
up.
could not find him. Nobody knew. They had to wait for me. Because everybody knew. If anybody knew what the fat nigga was, it's the skinny nigga right there. So me being me, if niggas came and they was looking for A and I knew where he was at, I told them I didn't know where he was at. But what I will do, I'm going to relate the message. What is the message? Some niggas related messages, some niggas gave numbers. But every time a nigga related the message, I related the message. But any time a nigga gave the number, I passed the number. And I'm saying this to say that all the niggas that ate from Harlem, Bronx, Queens, they know who they are. These was niggas who passed numbers to me. I passed it to the fat kid. All he needed to know was the number I passed him, a good number or a bad number. And once I stamped it, it was stamped, my nigga. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's just all I always wanted to do. With Black Just, with everybody, my nigga. Niggas, big homies was locked up. Not saying they wasn't eating, but they couldn't get what they were getting. They couldn't live the way they was used to living. I had to bring niggas over and introduce them to A. Say, hey, this is my man from Queens. These niggas is like that, eh? And whatever they did, and the next thing you know, niggas is loopy. And I went from that project to the next project. That's how I'm good with quality. That's why I'm good with Head and Cigar and these niggas. These niggas know I don't give a fuck about a nigga, how a nigga feel about what I say. Cause there ain't no nigga gonna say that I'm lying.
That's how we ended up in Queens playing ball for 30,
Right,
40,000
I put that game together.
Yeah, and from over
The
here to
very
back over
first
here.
game, I put it together just to make a connection. Even with my niggas, God bless the dead, Jason and Travis and all these niggas, I bought them from 19. They selling dust, Bomber Z, Shot Crew.
Shaq crew.
I changed niggas' lives. Whip Wop, he was walking around saying, yeah. I stopped that. You with us now. Prince was 4 out of it. He was riding dirt bikes. Get off that bike and get in a car.
Big
And I never asked nobody for nothing. I never even said what I've done. Even with Poe. Nobody would, I never even brought this man's name up. I let them do a movie, all kind of shit. Everything was lies. I let niggas profit off of my lies, bro. And I still was humbled about it. But enough is enough. See, when you start fucking with the kids, fucking with niggas that I love, and they don't understand or don't know the truth, or they're misled, lied to, bamboozled, fooled, tricked. You know what I mean? Any of those things, my nigga, is my duty to fix it. And that's what I'm doing. This one here is for the real niggas, for the niggas that, the gangsters, for the niggas that's in prison, that's gonna die in prison, for all the niggas that's never told, for some of the niggas who did tell because they didn't have no fucking choice. You understand what I'm saying? I respect the punk. Just let me know you a fucking punk.
And that's it, stand in your truth.
Don't
we
be
were talking about that
no
earlier.
punk and act like no gangster.
We were just talking about
I
that.
don't like bullies. That's what I hate. I despise bullies. I'm a skinny nigga. I want smoke with any bully. You understand me? So niggas can't say, oh, he gangster, he walk around, he shoot people, he stab people, he rob people. None of those things can nobody say.
Come around this way.
None of those things
Come around this way.
could nobody say about me. That is not my definition of a gangster. My definition of a gangster is anybody that's been through a fucking struggle who has a story to tell.
Right.
And I don't believe no one is who they consider themselves to be until others consider you to be it first. I'll give you an example. A nigga could say he busts his nigga's ass in ball, he's the best ball player you want, but when he walk through the block, if niggas don't say that nigga busts everybody's ass, that nigga's the best in ball. He's not that.
Exactly.
A nigga who say he fuck mad bitches all day, this, that, and the third, when he pull up on the block and niggas see him, if niggas ain't like, yo, I ain't even gonna lie, that nigga fuck mad bitches. See that nigga with, he's not that.
Right, he ain't really like
Yeah.
He's not like that.
Yeah.
So
The
most
people
of,
crown you.
most of the shit, you're not official until the folks acknowledge
That's
you.
what I'm saying. The people crown you.
Until the folks acknowledge you as official first.
Yeah.
You understand? So what I'm basically just standing here just saying, a lot of niggas die with these titles, man, and they really died for nothing, bro. Because no one acknowledged you as that. You made yourself that. You really thought yourself as that. You fooled yourself into believing that you really was that. And now this is what you got. And this is what makes me mad. It hurts me so much because I never wanted to be who I am. I'm not even proud with who I am. My kids, when people walk up on them and say, yo, my nigga, you look like Lou, whatever, you know what my son's got to say? Who you talking about? What you talking about? What Lou? Nah, I don't know what you talking about. They had to do this from a baby. To the point where my niggas run up on me like, yo, Lou, what's up? I thought the girl who, with the baby, I thought that was your kid. And I'm like, that is my kid. Nigga, Lou, every time I see him, I try to get a little boy something, she say, the boy is not yours. So I run up on my baby mothers, yo, what the fuck is up, man? Is these blue niggas mine or not? Because niggas keep saying that you keep telling them they not mine. You know my baby mothers look at me and say, Lou, we can't tell people that these are your kids. You don't want nothing to happen to them. You know how hurt I am behind some shit like that?
That's real. That's
My
why I say
kids-
don't get in the game, because these are the choices you got to make.
They can't even walk around and say they my kids, and they grown now.
Right, that's deep. That's real though.
Because of the shit that I've done. So am I proud of myself?
Cheers, cheers, toast the crime, toast the crime, the crime, the crime, the crime.
Out the can of 26, he back on the strip, getting back in the mix. What he mentions a gift. You stand up 10 toes down, and I suggest you pay attention to this. Take a little gully posse and put it in Harlem. He cut from the bottom, came up from the bottom. Drop the book, you should go and get it. An Instagram page and a YouTube you could go and visit. Then you could consider yourself LinkedIn. Sit front row and get Jews from a kingpin. How he went through it, so you ain't gotta go do it. To not pay attention would be stupid. Talking about a man that probably put your grandfather on. Probably the reason that him and your grams got along. A man that generated millions on the block, did his time, never squilling to the cops, Mecca audio. Get it live like 2 G's in the 90s. Drop top beamer so shiny. I let shorty go, she was whining. Treat her like my past, she behind me. Spend a couple bands on the dapper Dan. You be back again, getting green like a Packers fan. No cap, it's a roaring uptown. They be horn uptown, Dominican bust downs. Now we on the positive, you we got a lot to give. Now he trying to stop the kids from being inoperative. So take heed, homie, lend a ear. He started in uptown, he gon' finish dead. But now it ain't about selling drugs, buying cars. It's about buying property to make the community ours, so we can give back to the youth them. Cause they the truth them, and bless up to all the road men.